Welcome, and I hope everyone is doing alright. So, this is a new series I'm starting on my channel, where I summarize the key tips and tricks per class that I mention in some of my longer class guides. In this series I will go over tips and tricks that you can apply to a certain role to become better or more effective at the game. These tips and tricks are based on my experience from playing competitive Hell Let Loose, playing the game a lot in general, or learning from other competitive players that are highly skilled in a certain role. If you want to know more about a certain role or class in Hell Let Loose, check out some of my other class guides where I go in depth on how to play it effectively. In this one I will be going over general infantry tips and tricks for beginners and battle-hardened players alike. These tips are in random order, so pay close attention. The best tip I can give every player that's playing Hell Let Loose is patience. This game is not like your other shooters like Call of Duty, and if you approach this game like it's Call of Duty, you will run and die on a repeated cycle. Hell Let Loose is a tactical shooter and should be approached in this way. Always assume you're under threat of being shot at or someone is watching you. Take your time to look around and see what is happening around you, and move from cover to cover. Never overexpose yourself by running through an open field or running without cover. Play it slow and methodical, watch out for spots where enemy players are most likely to show themselves, and be on the lookout for edges of hedgerows, bushes, walls and buildings. These are the most likely places where an enemy player will show themselves. Also, do not trust friendly players around you. They can give you a false sense of security. If you're thinking, hey, I should be safe since there's a friendly player around me, so the sector or compound should be safe, well, you are not safe. There are so many angles in Hell Let Loose where an enemy player can pop up. Your buddy in front of you might be safe, but if you're running behind them, someone might just look around the corner and shoot you in the face. Trust your own instincts and eyes. So, if you play it slow instead of running into an objective, you will get better at the game and have a greater impact on an individual level. Have you ever found yourself running into an enemy player while reloading? Well, I certainly have on multiple occasions. But did you know you can cancel your reload animation by swapping to another item in your loadout and swapping back to your main weapon? This can give you a fighting chance if you are caught with your pants down. This will only work at the start of the animation and for the first few seconds. You'll have to find the sweet spot up until where you can do this by yourself to get a good feel for this. And the best thing yet about this trick, you can also do it when reloading a bazooka or Panzerschreck. Let's say you just got a beautiful rear end shot on the enemy tank, you reload your bazooka to finish the job, but one of the crew members jumps out and decides to be mad at you and tries to shoot you in the face. If you time it correctly, you can swap to your main weapon, finish off the crew member and finish off the tank. This game is all about what you can see and if you can spot the enemy before you do. A quick tip to improve your visibility is to set the brightness higher. I usually tend to set it to 130–140% depending on the map I am playing. Setting your brightness higher will light up darker spots and make it easier to see enemy players. If you want to know more about these settings for visibility and more FPS, have a look at the guide I made about settings and visibility, where I go over everything you need to know about settings and visibility. In Hell Let Loose you can jump on and over many objects, but some walls and objects just seem out of reach or too high to vault over. Instead of slamming the spacebar once, press and hold the spacebar to latch on to a vaulting point. This will allow you to vault over walls or get on rooftops that otherwise seem out of reach. By holding the spacebar you will jump and grab on to the vaulting point. Oh, this is another important one, play the map. The map and the information on it via markers, proximity alerts, pings is the best tool in your arsenal. Open up the map and read the map often on a regular basis while playing. You can see what is going on the map and what you need to look out for. For instance, you can see where enemy troops are pushing from by looking at other outposts or garrisons that have a proximity alert, or you can watch out for markers that are placed by your squad lead. This will let you know where the enemy is likely to show up and where you need to be extra careful. You can open up the map while you're reloading behind cover, or have a quick peek on the map when you're running from cover to cover. In most cases, this will let you know what you can expect up ahead or around you. Another quick tip, the bleed out time or time to bandage in Hell Let Loose is very forgiving. You don't have to bandage straight away. You can use this to your advantage by either using this time to let the enemy player empty his weapon, forcing him to reload and then you peek again, or you can reposition yourself and get the enemy from a different angle where he won't be expecting you. As I mentioned in my Improve Your Gameplay guide, Hell Let Loose is 70% about positioning yourself correctly. Everything is tied in with you reading the map and positioning yourself correctly. Set yourself up for success and get yourself in the best place possible to get a drop on the enemy. There are multiple ways to achieve this. You can gain a positioning advantage through using different rooftops or walls to get a height advantage. You can move from cover to cover to conceal yourself as much as you can and never peek the same angle twice. If you peek the same angle over and over, the enemy will expect you there and will line up a shot before you even get a chance to do something from that angle. You can also outflank or rotate around the enemy players, outposts and so on. This last one is extremely powerful in Hell Let Loose and should be utilized often, since players usually will get surprised by you hitting them from the flank or rear. Another thing you can do is avoid running through open field as much as you can. Sometimes it's unavoidable, sometimes you have to cross the open field, and if you have to do this, don't sprint for hours on end. Stop at regular intervals to have a look around and to see if you can spot someone lining up a shot on you. Almost there, just 3 tips to go. Hell Let Loose is all about coordination, communication and working with your squad. Especially if you're new to the game, work and communicate with your squad. Stick close to them and learn from more experienced players. Listen closely to the information they are giving you, where are they pinging the enemy, and work with that to set yourself up for success. Also, it goes the other way around. Communicate with your squad, give them info to work with, ping enemy locations and be precise and effective in your communication. Don't say enemy left of you, since left is relative in Hell Let Loose and can be anywhere. Instead, ping the location with middle bounce or say enemy north 10 of you. This way you can give clear and precise direction where the other players needs to look. If you spot an enemy tank, give information what kind of tank it is and which direction it is watching, so other players know what they're dealing with and not end up in front of the tank. Also, do not be afraid to ask questions if you are new to the game. Hell Let Loose has a really high learning curve without the proper tutorials in place, and you're getting thrown in the deep end. In comparison to other games, 90% of the Hell Let Loose players are friendly and always willing to help new players learn the game. You just have to ask, communicate and initiate it yourself. So let me start this one with an apology for all the players that are playing Medic out there. In the current state of the game, well yeah, it's with how respawn timers work in the game, in 80 to 90% of the cases it is faster to redeploy than wait for a medic to pick you up. I see a lot of players holding the keybind to release. Instead, hit escape, hit redeploy, because it's faster and can gain you those precious seconds to grab the next spawn wave. Also, don't be afraid to hit redeploy when you see a friendly airhead that's about to come up, or if you see a point that is in dire need for help. Be flexible, hit redeploy and use those spawn points that are available to you to quickly help out where needed, instead of trying to do a Usain Bolt across the map or staying around in locked regions. In my opinion, an overlooked factor that is sound. You can use sound to your advantage in multiple ways. You can use sound to hear enemy players moving on the other side of the hedge, or if you recognize the unique sound weapons make, you can determine if it's a friendly player or if it's an enemy player. Also, you can use sound to pinpoint the general direction where the enemy players are shooting from and put you on high alert in a certain direction. You can use sound to hear enemy outposts or garrisons close by and will let you know if they're on the side of the hedge or close to you in a wheat field and so on. Even the aircraft sounds in Hell Let Loose are not for show. If you hear an aircraft, look up and see what it is. It could be the enemy dropping an air raid or supplies behind your lines and trying to sneak up from behind. It also could be an enemy bombing run dropping on top of your head. Sound can give you a lot of information to work with and use that to your advantage. Set your sound settings accordingly so you can hear all these audio cues. Find a good balance between the SFX sounds and voice volume. I usually have SFX volume a bit higher than my voice volume. That way I can hear all the audio cues but also understand when someone is communicating important information. So you made it to the end and I got one final tip for you that will change your Hell Let Loose experience. Hell Let Loose is best experienced with a fully communicating and coordinating team. This will give you an experience that is no other to any other game can even get close to. There are a lot of servers out there and in my experience, there's a lot of difference in the level of skill and the level of communicating players that play on a certain server. To get the best experience out of the game and to get a challenging game that's not a 5-0 steamroll, you want the players in your squad to communicate and the enemy players to be tough as nails. Find yourself a good community server and ideally a community that is playing in the Hell Let Loose seasonal competition. Usually these servers are filled to the brim with experienced players that know how this game works and know what it takes to win a game. For instance, take the WTH community server that's based in Europe. During the evening there are a lot of community players playing on the server, but also players from other communities. Use this to your advantage and find yourself a good server to play on. It makes a huge difference. As always, thank you for watching and I hope this video helped you become a better player in Hell Let Loose. If you want to know more in depth about how to play a certain role effectively or learn more about the game, check out my other guides and I hope you have a good day and I will see you in the next one.